Greetings and complications, dear friends. Welcome to another video on our channel. You're on GMT-3, the channel that makes complications simple. We've been here since 2016 producing content about our shared passion, the watch world. But if you don't know the channel yet and you're just arriving now, I invite you to subscribe and become part of our family, our story. Welcome to GMT-3. Here you can check out the main news, releases, and cool stuff showing up here just like you'll see, bro, in today's video. Today you'll check out one of the most iconic watches in our country, one of the longest running watch families. It started its story in the 80s and it began in a world that no longer exists. Today you're going to get to know the Tecnos Riviera, the new release, right? This new look, it's the new direction that Tecnos is giving to its Riviera family. But you're also going to learn a little bit about the history of this watch, which is simply extraordinary. Because as I said, this watch was created in a world that no longer exists, which is the analog world of the 80s. And back then, the conveniences you have today didn't exist. Today, you can go to a website anywhere on the planet, and 2 weeks later, you have not only a watch, but any other item delivered right to your doorstep, which wasn't the reality in the 80s. And Tecnos, aware of this, sought to bring the Riviera family an opportunity for people to have an entry-level dress watch. Notably, the Riviera family is obviously inspired by the Rolex Datejust, and Tecnos had this market insight back in the 80s to be able to provide people with an entry-level dress watch that had that iconic design of the Datejust. And as I said, created back then in a world that no longer exists. You see it and suddenly remember the 80s. How were your 80s? Were they good? Write down what you miss from the 80s and 90s, put it in the comments section, and I'll read and comment on some of your comments about what was cool back then. Remember the show Dallas, huh? There were a lot of people wearing Rolex watches back then, right? So I'm sure a lot of people looked at that lifestyle and thought, wow, what a cool watch. I want to have a watch like that. Tecnos picked up on that and positioned the Riviera as an entry-level dress watch. That's what it has always been. It's always been part of Tecnos' DNA to have a watch in the Riviera family that was very well made, very well built, and that served as an entry point into formal watches. And here we have the model that really nods to this more formal pedigree, and we have some improvements here that made this watch very interesting. Let's get to know this little guy. I got it from Tecnos and we'll check out the new release. Tecnos is really moving back toward automatic movements. We see this trend in watchmaking toward watches with automatic mechanical movements, even in our domestic industry. It's a way for us to bring back a bit of that nostalgia, a bit of that time when things were calmer, you know, to get away from screens a little. And there's also a reference here to the mechanics of the past. I thought it was really cool because we not only have this reference, but also the use of movements that are already well established. Like, for example, this Miyota here, this little guy here has, well, as I always like to do, let's go to the table and check out the new dimensions of the Tecnos Riviera. And this watch ended up with a very interesting size. In terms of the case size, this little guy here is 37 millimeters. If you include the crown, it's 40 millimeters, but it's a very comfortable watch with this case here. Look, the Oyster. And here we have some really well-made features on this model. Of course, always taking into consideration what you're going to invest to have this watch in your watch box in your collection. And as I said, we have this little guy here, the 37, or with 40, right? If you take the crown into consideration. Here, the lug-to-lug distance is 44.6 and the bracelet is 20 millimeters wide. And a very interesting detail about this bracelet is that it starts here at 20 millimeters and it tapers down to an elegant 16 millimeters near the clasp. It's not one of those bracelets that starts at 20 and stays at 20 near the clasp. We have this taper, which makes the watch much more comfortable and also much more elegant. The butterfly clasp is signed and has 2 side locks here. And we have the famous Jubilee bracelet. This bracelet here, the whole watch is made of stainless steel, okay? 316 stainless steel. This bracelet is no exception. And here we have it with polished inner links. And the links here are satin finished on the outer part. There are 5 links per row on this Jubilee bracelet. And it looks really elegant here with these solid links. It's really a very sturdy bracelet. I really liked how the bracelet integrates with the case, right? With this oyster case. It's not loose here at all. It's very well fitted. And finally, a perfect combination, right? Oyster case and Jubilee bracelet. There's no way to go wrong. The polishing on this case here is very well done. If you look here, you don't see any distortion in this polish. It's really well done on the case. Here at the 3 o'clock position, we have a crown that's easy to operate with the Tecnos T and a characteristic feature of the Riviera family. Like I said, this family has existed since the 80s, so we have countless chrono models, we have countless chronograph models, we have women's models. We have models with gemstones, but they all have some things in common, like this fluted bezel here, which is incredibly shiny. It's really a watch you can see from far away, and it shines a lot, man. This watch has a Jubilee bracelet, right? With all these angles and these angles here on the fluted bezel, it doesn't disappoint if you like a shiny watch. Even the hour markers here, you have this polished finish on the markers. This watch with this blue dial, it's metallic blue sunburst, right? So it's really a watch to admire up close because shine is something this little guy definitely doesn't lack. I've already talked about some of its features right here on its dial, like the indices. This dial is protected by sapphire crystal, as it clearly shows here. That information there at the 6 o'clock position also tells you about its 50-meter water resistance. Here we have the indices, they are applied. The hour and minute hands are in the baton style. Here we have a large polished area and a day and date window here at the 3 o'clock position. Pure elegance, minute markers around the outer edge of the dial with markers every 5 minutes. And it's a very tasteful watch. I think its size turned out really nice, 37 millimeters right, or 40 with the crown. It turned out to be an extremely elegant watch, man, really cool. I liked it a lot. The case back of this guy here is screw down and transparent. We don't have a sapphire back here, right? Sapphire is on the front. Here we have mineral crystal on the back, with some information about the model, such as its 50-meter water resistance, the use of stainless steel, and the indication that we have sapphire crystal. We have some information here laser engraved on this transparent case back, but I didn't really like it. Here we have, I think it's the serial number, right? And here there's an indication that the watch is produced in the Manaus Free Trade Zone. Anyway, these are details that need to be on the watch, but they end up taking away a bit of the charm when you look at the exposed movement, right? So you can see here this Miura movement ticking. Here we have the workhorse, which is the 8205 produced by Miura. Miota is part of the Citizen Group. So here we have a movement made in Japan powering this Riviera. It's a really robust movement. It will give you 42 hours of power reserve. It's a movement that has manual winding, and it also has a hacking feature. Besides, of course, the day of the week and date display at the 3 o'clock position, as I mentioned earlier. It's a watch for you to admire this case back here, right, while it's running. If you like a transparent case back, you'll find that feature in this little guy here, so you can keep watching the movement of this machine. The watch turned out really beautiful. It's a very tasteful watch. It's a very traditional watch line from our country, the Riviera line. And I really like this watch. You get this men's size. I wouldn't even say it's just masculine. My wife is going to wear this watch all the time. She already said she loved the watch. But anyway, There are also 28 and 30 millimeter versions of the Riviera. Some models do have a Cyclops lens, although here we don't have that feature. But here we do have a watch that aims for that. It gives you the opportunity to have an entry-level dress watch for a pretty reasonable price. It's a watch with a movement, it's a workhorse Miyota, right? 8205. Here you have a movement that requires maintenance. Any watch, after the warranty expires, you need to take it to a watchmaker. Any watchmaker in the country knows how to work with this movement. It was a very smart choice by Tecnos to use this movement. The watch looks really nice on the wrist, right? Very cool. Leandro, how much does it cost? This guy costs, on the Tecnos website, this guy here with this automatic mechanical movement. This watch here, exactly this one, comes in a very nice box. Especially for you if that's what you're looking for. If you want to give a gift to your loved one. Valentine's Day is coming up. If you want to give a gift to your girlfriend or your boyfriend, to your partner, this watch is perfect for you to celebrate this occasion. Very beautiful presentation, and you, on the Tecnos website, this watch costs about 1,400 reais. You can buy it in 10 interest-free installments. Tecnos has a promotion if you want to pay in full. Today, for example, for purchases over 799, you get free shipping. So you're going to buy this watch, you'll receive it in the comfort of your home, paying in up to 10 interest-free installments. I really like this watch. It's got that Rolex Datejust style, right? Who wouldn't like it? This sunburst here, this shade of blue, it looks really cool. Here we have this indicator at the 12 o'clock position, right? Which means it's a watch with automatic movement. And the name Tecnos there, really cool. I know you're going to say it's Leandro.
You keep making excuses, right, for the national companies. And I'm here, and you talk trash about Pagani and all that stuff. I know there will be people who say that.
So, to make this video, I did some research to find out how much an equivalent watch like this costs on e-commerce platforms abroad. Man, check it out. This watch from Pagani with the NH35 movement, which is equivalent to this little guy here, 1,303 reais, man. 1,303 reais, a watch that you'll need an international card for, that you'll have to make an international purchase, and that you'll have to wait for it to arrive. And when it arrives, how are you going to have a warranty for this watch? I made that famous video, right? Where I show that Pagani there, the watch that arrived broken, right? So man, for just 97 reais more, you can buy this watch here. You're helping the national industry stay on its feet. You're contributing to the employment of hundreds of people. And in the end, that's something really relevant. I think the time is coming when it won't be so advantageous anymore to buy watches from e-commerce abroad. At least taking into consideration this amount here that I just mentioned to you. For less than 100 reais more, you get a watch that is totally equivalent from a more than established brand, a century-old brand, which has already offered this model here since the 1980s. So, without any fear, my brother, go for it, because I'm sure you're really going to enjoy this Tecnos Riviera. It's a great watch, really very cool. An affordable dress watch for you to show off that Datejust style. This was the watch you saw in today's video. I really hope you enjoyed this video, okay? I fell in love with this Riviera here. I'm going to wear it a lot. It's very likely there will be a big dispute between my wife and me to see who gets to wear this watch here. But anyway, I can also use my GMT too, so we can each wear one. Tecnos Riviera. You're going to learn a little bit about the history of this watch that was born in a world that unfortunately doesn't exist anymore, the 80s, full of joy. I've already asked you what you miss about the 80s and the early 90s. Those were really good times, weren't they? I really enjoyed that time. That's it, guys. Tecnos Riviera. Dear people from Tecnos, thank you so much for sending this watch here. I was really curious to check out this release, and the watch is really cool. Leandro, is there something you didn't like about this watch? Well, here we go. What would I do? My tip for Tecnos. Quick release, okay? Quick release here on this strap. This watch with a leather strap looks really beautiful. Quick release. And what else? This name here, laser engraved, didn't turn out very well, but you have to put it, right? This name shows it's made in the Manaus Free Trade Zone. But anyway, I think that's it. That's it. A screw down crown would also help. This crown is not screw down. It would add some resistance here, but anyway, I think that's really it. Quick release and a screw down crown. This watch would be even better. We have sapphire here and a tried and true movement. It's a watch with a solid link bracelet, very consistent and at a very competitive price. I really hope you enjoyed this video. May God bless you always, always, always and more, and of course I'll see you soon, very soon in our next video. Bye bye.